You are listening to the Lawyer Stories podcast with host Benny Gold. Lawyer Stories was founded in July 2017 on Instagram and is an expanding global network of lawyers and law students sharing their personal journeys to the noble profession of the practice of law. Join us on this podcast as we dig deeper into these stories and hear from lawyers and law students from around the world in all areas of the legal profession. Here at Lawyer Stories, we believe that every lawyer has a story. What's yours?
What's up, everyone? Benny Gold here, founder of Lawyer Stories and host of the Lawyer Stories podcast. I'm truly grateful to have Adaptabar sponsor this podcast episode for us. Why? Because when I took the bar exam and needed help with the multi-state bar examination, I used Adaptabar and I passed. Adaptabar is an online MBE program, and one thing I loved about the program are the authentic MBE questions paired with an adaptive algorithm that is proven to accurately predict your MBE score. I remember when I sat for the MPRE, I needed to see questions written like they were going to appear on the actual exam, and Adaptabar had everything I needed to pass the MBE. Please contact me anytime with questions about the program and to discuss my success with Adaptabar. You may use promo code LS20, that's LS20, for $30 off your enrollment with Adaptabar. Wherever you are in the world today, enjoy yourselves. Welcome to episode 12 of the Lawyer Stories podcast with Benny Gold. Today, we have a special guest, Orlando attorney, Ed Wimp. How you doing, Ed?
Good. How are you doing?
Good. Ed's a speaker. He's an author. He's a musician, a pure Renaissance man, as it says on your website. I saw that earlier. That was great. So thanks for joining us. We did feature Ed on Lawyer Stories back April 9th, 2019. So we just passed your year anniversary of being on the Lawyer Stories page there. And I always know that you're very active. So I appreciated that, and that's really cool that you said you read the stories and everything. So thanks for that. I appreciate it.
Absolutely.
So all right, so welcome. You're there in Orlando. You're dealing with you're quarantining just like the rest of us out there. So let's just jump right in. Like I know on the in your story you discuss or you touch on it because lawyer stories aren't too long, but. Like, what was it like? You grew up on the south side of Chicago. So, like, what was that like for you?
I love the south side of Chicago. And it's really one of the, things in my life that I want to always give back to Chicago and give back to the south side throughout my career, throughout my life. So, yeah, I think Chicago does certainly get, a bad reputation in many regards, especially the South Side for all the violence. And that's something that, it is tragic. There is a lot of violence on the South Side that a lot of influential people are, really working on. But Chicago, there's also a lot of culture. There's a lot of beautiful art coming out of the South Side of Chicago. There's a lot of amazing things that happen on the South Side too. So in my life's work, bring more attention to that and help out with that.
That's good. So were you a sports fan growing up or not really?
Oh, yeah.
White Sox. White Sox. Okay, that's interesting. What about basketball? Because there's the Last Dance documentary with Michael Jordan is very popular right now. The time of this filming, we have the last two episodes tomorrow night, and that was sort of like back when I was like growing up. Like I'm a big Celtics fan. I'm from New England, so that it's awesome. Have you been watching that at all?
I haven't. I intend to, but I'm one of those people that I don't like to watch things when they air because I don't like the pressure of schedule it.
Yeah.
So to binge it, after they all come out, I'm just gonna go back and probably just watch all of them. But I've heard some crazy. I mean, it sounds extremely riveting.
Yeah, no, it's great so far. I'm kind of the opposite actually. Like I like to watch something when it comes out because I feel like if I go on social media, I'll just hear too much about it, and it'll just it'll blow the whole thing for me. But yeah, it's definitely good. So back to the South Side. So like I know there's some shows out there that like portray the South Side. One show in particular that I got into watching somehow. I think I missed the first few seasons of it, but there's a show called Shameless. I don't know if you're familiar with that one,
Oh,
but
love. Yep.
you do. You love Shameless? Okay. Like, so is that sort of like South Side or what?
Yeah. Well, I mean, I don't know. I mean, to an extent, minus the Frank Gallagher.
Yeah. Right. Well, yeah. That's
God knows what. But similar. I mean, that was a really cool show. I mean, there's so many different landmarks, in that show that are just familiar to me. But I wouldn't say it's an absolutely spot on portrayal, but
all right.
There are accuracies.
So did you have any big challenges growing up there? Like what was like your biggest challenge? Did you have any?
My biggest challenge. Well, I mean, of course, there is, there is the violence.
Yeah.
So, parents aren't always so weird, you don't have a lot of like the suburban freedoms, that a lot of kids, that might live in the suburbs or nicer areas have, where they can just like, be out all day,
right.
Around or, doing, running from friend to friend's house.
Right.
I did do a little bit of that, but it was definitely, a little more monitored, being on the South Side.
Okay. So something I find interesting about like your lawyer story, is that you were playing music at a young age, and you said you watched your mother perform. So I was kind of curious if you could tell us a little bit about that.
Sure. Yeah. So my mom is a singer. That's cool. What she does for a living. So
wow.
I saw, I just grew up around music. There's always, and I kind of took it for granted. Looking back on it, I took for granted just waking up on a Sunday morning and just hearing the piano playing around the house and hearing her singing. I mean, and it's kind of cool, right now during the, my parents were down here to visit before Corona happened, and they're down here now.
Sorry, you are cutting out like a little bit. So they're stuck down there now in
yeah.
Okay.
And it's kind of cool, now I can, wake up and hear my mom playing piano now.
So they're literally stuck like with you, like they're quarantined with you, and okay. All right. Well,
yeah. So it's kind of cool. It kind of comes full circle. But yeah, so my mom, she's a musician. So I grew up just around that, and I grew up also traveling with her quite a bit.
Yep.
Really cool to just kind of see the world through music with her. Yeah, it's just very much been a part of my life.
Cool. Yeah. Well, I must say, Ed, I went to your website, and I don't know how, like, your website's great, and you do sing a song on there, or it's recorded, called "Beautiful." I don't know how like long ago you recorded that, but if anybody's listening to this out there and you go to Ed Wimp's website, you have to check out this song. You have great vocals, so
Nice.
Really cool. So it's called "Beautiful." So like, what was the inspiration behind that?
So back maybe 10 years ago, I'm 30 years old right now. So about 10 years ago,
you're young, man. You're a youngin'.
I guess,
you're
man.
A youngster.
Years come quick. I don't feel so young anymore.
Oh, come on.
But I was in this band, and we would always write, these just kind of sad, depressing songs. I don't know why. I mean, inspiration would just always hit when you're going through something, or like a breakup. Nothing serious, but
yeah, I hear you.
Yeah.
Back then, it feels like pretty.
It feels like the world. It feels.
Yeah, I hear you.
But and my mom literally said to me, she was like, "You write so many sad songs. Like, why don't you write about something that is positive or that's uplifting?" So I wrote "Beautiful."
Yeah. Cool.
Yeah, and that was my uplifting.
Have you performed it? Like you said, your mom plays the piano. Does she play the piano when you sing it, or that sort of thing?
Yeah, we have performed together.
Where does she perform? You said she performed growing up. Like, where would she?
Everywhere.
Everywhere. Okay.
Everywhere. We did the whole thing from cruise ships to France to everywhere.
Cruise ship, really? Like just like as an actual performer, or just somebody who was on the cruise and like jumped on the piano and started singing?
No, like an actual performer.
All right.
Yeah.
Cool.
And that's actually my dad was on a convention, and my mom was performing on a cruise ship, and they met on a cruise ship. And
oh, that's awesome. Yeah.
Then along came me, and then we, just hopped on cruise ships all the time growing up.
Yeah, that's a great story. Actually, I'm sure we could have another half hour on that. Maybe we will sometime. I don't know. So, okay, so we went over your mother playing music, like you mentioned that in your lawyer stories. So, like, one thing I like to ask guests, because this is sort of like where this lawyer stories idea like emanated from, and like this is what kind of piques my interest among everything else that you have already said, is like, when did you have that moment, like that epiphany that you were like, I'm going to be a lawyer. This is what I'm doing. This is what I'm meant to do.
You know, I think I had, well, I'll start by saying this. There's law. I've always had this seed in my head of things that I wanted to focus on, and that was business and law, because there's business and law in literally everything.
Right.
I mean, there's law in this cell phone that I'm talking to you on. You know, I mean, there's all sorts of stuff that goes into that.
And the chair that you were sitting on, you said that in the lawyer story.
Yeah. Right.
No, that's great. I think that's lawyers. That's how we think. You know, we think about the liability of like a snowstorm. You know,
everything. Right.
So maybe not you. You're in Orlando, but I'm in Massachusetts.
Hurricane.
Right. Okay. Go ahead.
So there's that, right? So laws and everything, and I remember. So in addition to playing music, I also worked in tour management pretty extensively, which is
that's awesome. Yeah.
The tours of musicians.
Earth, Wind, and Fire. You mentioned Earth, Wind, and Fire, and like Wiz Khalifa. You said like that's dope. That's awesome. Yeah.
And there was always, a demand for attorneys.
Right.
You know, we'd be on the bus, and someone would say, we need to call an attorney immediately. And I figured, why can't that person be me? There's obviously a demand. We're needing to go and, basically outsource everything to an attorney. Why can't I be that person? So I think that was really kind of my aha moment of this is a worthwhile path to take.
Right.
And I'm going to work towards it.
That's great. Okay. So you sort of knew, like, because law was in everything and you wanted to have something to do with business and entertainment, especially with the highlighted on entertainment. You wanted to be the person to like solve the problems.
Right.
And advise people on, what they could and couldn't do and that sort of thing. Is that accurate?
That's accurate. Yeah. And also, depending on where life takes you, there's always going to be that legal component.
Yeah.
Yeah. What you do, you can be a lawyer doing it.
Right.
In any industry you go into.
Right. So since you've become a lawyer, like, has your why changed? Like, why you do certain things? Like, has that shifted?
It has. I really want to. So I achieved the goal of becoming a lawyer and of working as an attorney. And my why has really changed just more to, I want to give back.
Yep.
Been working here in Orlando with the Legal Aid Society, doing guardian ad litem work.
Okay.
Just doing more, just building up my pro bono services. I also work with lawyers in the creative arts, which is a pro bono thing that provides services to musicians, visual artists. So I think, I really at this stage, I'm looking for ways to give back and use my services to help people.
Yeah, legal aid attorneys are really passionate about doing what they can when they have a client, when they take on a client. I know they're overworked and there's a lot of people that they can't really represent, but when they do, they really are thorough. I've had to go against some in my day as an attorney, and I know that they really do their best for their client. So somebody who wants to go to law school, like somebody who's in college and they're thinking of the path, like, what would you tell them? What would you advise somebody who wants to take the law path?
I'd advise them to remember the why. Remember whatever, like, just like, on your channel, every attorney has a why,
right.
And that every attorney gives a story of why they became an attorney, of what drew them to it. And I would say always remember that, because there's going to be so many, challenges. The bar, the LSAT, I mean, just the LSAT was a nightmare. The bar exam was a nightmare. Law school is a nightmare.
Did you go to law school in Chicago?
Here in Orlando, yeah.
Orlando, okay.
Law school in Orlando.
Orlando, which one?
Florida A&M.
Okay.
The main campus is in Tallahassee.
FAMU, right? Is that what?
FAMU.
Nice. Okay.
Yeah, the campus is in Tallahassee, but the law school's in Orlando.
Gotcha. Okay.
So just remember your why. Just remember, why you got into it, and that'll keep you on track when perhaps you feel like giving up or you feel like, the workload is mountable. It'll keep you focused, and get a mentor.
What did you? Yeah, I think mentor is so underrated. I think like a lot of people need mentors. I discuss that a lot. I think mentors, it's just not like in the medical profession. They have, they have a lot of practical experience, and I think I think law school they should have to put you through a year of practical experience. You have to pick something after you go through all your basic classes, and you should be really going out to do it. You should be forced to do it and to really learn something practical.
Absolutely.
How did you like law school? Like, was there anything that you found really challenging or inspiring, or?
I mean, at the time, law school is kind of all but looking back on it, what I really truly enjoyed about law school, now that I can look back on law school, was just the theory. Just you just sit in class and you argue about all these hypothetical facts, and you really delve into the theory of law.
Yeah.
And you have the opportunity to learn, you go from class to class to class, learning completely different areas of law.
Right.
Whereas when at least my experience has been, and I'm trying to change this, but my experience since I've graduated from law school and practiced as an attorney is very much day in and day out the same kinds of things.
Right.
As opposed to being able to, theorize with property law, then go to a constitutional law class, then go to a family law class, then go to, what.
Yeah, I think there are, people like to specialize so they could be good in really one area, but I understand some people need to have like 5 different areas that they can sort of be good at. I don't want to say dabble in, but like be good at and
right.
People in, so for sure. So what prompted you to write your book, like Building Fans, Fame, and Wealth and the 18 Revenue Streams of Music? Tell us about that.
Sure. So I did, before I was an attorney, I would also do consulting with people in the entertainment industry, whether that be a recording studio or an artist or, what have you, just people that were in the entertainment industry. And I found that, a lot of people, especially artists, couldn't necessarily afford the consulting fees. So I figured, if I write this book, I can sell it for $15, and most people that are serious about it can afford a $15 book.
Right.
And just sell it to a bunch of people. And also I was quite a bit. So I saw that as a pretty fruitful option to be able to sell that. So that was really what inspired me to write that book, and also just get the experience of writing a book.
When did that come out?
That came out in 2016, in fall of 20.
So have you sold some of them? Like, where can people buy that?
Oh yeah, so they're on Amazon and also on my website.
Okay.
And also I sling them. If I speak, I've got copies with me.
You've got copies with you, yeah.
Right.
Everybody's always got something, man. Everybody's always out there just trying to peddle something.
Oh, of course.
But that's good. That's cool. So like, yeah, you're a true author. So how long is the book? Like, is it pretty extensive?
It's not. It's about 100. I think it's in the upper hundreds pages.
Wow.
Maybe like 160. Maybe one. I don't know. That's a good question.
Nice. Okay. So all right. So people can go on. You said Amazon?
Amazon or my website.
On your website. Okay. So what's the best piece of advice you've ever been given, Ed?
Sure. The best piece of advice is probably, it sounds pretty cliche, but I think it's pretty I think it's impactful. But to whom much is given, much is expected. And I think we as attorneys we have an expansive skill set and knowledge, and the ability, the privilege to represent people, to help people, and in times that they truly are vulnerable and need help.
Okay.
So we've been given that skill set, that knowledge, that education, and it's incumbent on us to give back and to use it for good and to help people. So to whom much is given, much is expected is probably my best piece of advice and what keeps me grounded.
Sounds like that's almost like a superhero thing. You know what I mean? Like if you think about it, like that's sort of like a superhero mantra.
Right.
These powers to like climb a wall, like you got to save people from from a fire.
Right.
I don't know. Maybe am I looking at that in the wrong way?
I think you're looking at it the right way.
All right. Well, I guess that's different interpretations, I guess. So what else about Ed? Are you still creating music or what? What are you doing any of that on the side? Are you really what are you focusing on now?
Well, right now I'm focusing really on just becoming the best attorney I can be at this time.
Yeah.
I'm also music. I'm in a band now currently here in Orlando. So I'm doing that as well. I'm also starting.
So tell us about the band. What's it called?
Sure. So the band that I'm in currently is called Dear Tatiana. It's a hip hop rock band.
Really? So what do you sing? Or I mean, I know you sing, but do you play any instruments or?
I play bass in that band.
Oh, cool. All right.
Bass guitar. So,
awesome.
it's a great release. It's a great way to keep the creative juices flowing.
Who's your musical inspiration? Like besides your mother who sang, like do you have?
So my musical inspiration. So I grew up listening to a lot of rock music.
Okay.
So in that I was into groups like Alkaline Trio. I'm not sure if you've heard of that group.
Yeah, I actually have. Yeah, I've heard of them.
Yeah. I was into them. Then I'm also into like Nat King Cole. Throw it back to that. Sam Cooke and all that stuff. So the only kind of music I don't really like is like opera.
Okay. All right. Okay.
I even like music.
You even like what? Sorry. What was that?
Country.
Country. Okay. Yeah.
I like it all.
That's good. All right. That's good. Very, very diverse range.
Yeah.
Awesome.
Yeah.
So what kind of songs are you guys playing?
So they're primarily hip hop influenced.
Okay.
But it's a full band. So it's guitar, bass, drums.
Okay.
And then we have a hip hop frontman. And so it has that like rock vibe to it. There's like the distorted guitars and stuff, but it's very much a hip hop centered project.
Do you have like a YouTube page or anything?
We do, yeah. If you just search Dear Tatiana, DEAR, like dear, then Tatiana.
That's cool. All right. So how were you doing during the whole COVID-19 thing here?
I'm good. It's my office is still open.
Okay.
So still going in. I haven't missed. I took one day off just to chill, but other than that, we haven't shut down at all. Still going in and socially distancing and whatnot.
Yep.
And so that hasn't really changed too much. I suppose the weekends are quite different. Just kind of stay at home and watch TV.
Yeah. I mean, there's like nothing to really do. You work on your personal brand, or you spend time with your family, play games of Monopoly or Scrabble or something like that, right?
Right. And I think
or you have online Zoom parties.
Indeed. Yep.
All right.
And there's a lot of this time, as devastating as it is, and people are out of work, and it's a truly devastating time. It's also a very it's really humbling a lot of us and bringing us back to our roots and making us realize what's important, and that's each other, and that's and that's something that I think many times you lose sight of when you're always on the go. running from one thing to the next, you forget to just be still and just enjoy your surroundings and where you are.
Right. Yeah, no, I agree with that. I mean, there are a lot of silver linings to it.
Yeah.
For personally, I think, like, they say we're in this together. And I do think that, we're all going through the same crisis together, but everybody's going through it in a different way. It's impacting people's lives completely different,
Yeah.
So, one person might be enjoying their time at home or, being with their family or being able to work from home. Another person might be a service worker who's out there like struggling because their bar isn't open or that they can't sling drinks on the weekend and that's their income. So I think like, yes, we are in this together, but it's also a very, everybody's has it affecting them differently. So yeah, but there are some silver linings. I get that for sure.
How's it? Are you in Massachusetts?
Yeah, I'm in central Massachusetts. We're pretty much going through the surge this past week, so it's it's tricky. I try to go. I'm in the office, in and out of the office, mostly out working from home. My staff is working very hard, it's difficult. I mean, especially when the weather gets nice, people want to congregate. It gets difficult. But anyway, so how can people get a hold of you?
Sure.
Like, people want to contact Ed Wimp and for some legal advice or lessons on to buy your book.
Sure. Yeah. Well, I have my website, edwimp.com, just my name, edwimp.com. I'm on Instagram, everything, Ed Wimp. Twitter, Ed Wimp. Instagram, Ed Wimp. Sweet. I'm on Facebook. I'm on LinkedIn, Ed Wimp. Yeah. Nobody else has my last name besides like my immediate family. So.
Right. Well, I appreciate your support as, somebody who's been at this for a little while. I always appreciate, seeing you on the feeds and everything. So thank you for that.
Thank you.
Yeah.
I love you. Well, it's truly, your page is inspiring.
Thank you.
It's just hear the different stories. It really is special.
Thank you very much. I appreciate those words. Now, is there anything else? We're going to wrap it up, but is there anything else you want to say to anybody out there? I don't mean to put you on the spot, but.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't know to any, aspiring attorneys or anybody. I mean, especially right now, as we're on the brink of like a lot of the interns in my office, like their last day was yesterday. And they're starting to study for the bar exam. So I guess, what I would say to people that are on that final push for the bar exam, especially under these circumstances, every state has their different, circumstances that they're administering the bar exam at this time. Just stay focused, stay in the game. It's a very time, even under pristine circumstances, to take, a bar exam, but especially now, just take a deep breath, just stay focused. Just one more final push. You've been studying, during this whole time for this moment. So just push for that. And then anybody that's, planning to go to law school, taking the LSAT, just remember your why and remember why you started.
Remember your why. That's great advice from our friend Ed Wimp. So thank you again for joining us. Very nice guy, great attorney. Author, musician. Get a hold of Ed on Instagram, any platform. You can find us at lawyer_stories, and our podcast is on Apple and Spotify, and we also have a YouTube page now. We're going to be posting some more videos up there shortly. And thank you for joining episode 12 of the Lawyer Stories podcast with Benny Gold. And wherever you are in the world today, enjoy yourselves and be safe. Thanks again, Ed.
All right. Thank you so much.
The Lawyer Stories podcast is produced by Marketing the Law. Are you looking at your social presence every day? Potential clients are. Learn how to magnetize your brand with the help of Marketing the Law. Find us on Instagram at Marketing the Law to learn more.